What's going on, guys? It's me, your faithful host, the Let's Play Dark Souls HD, and welcome to part 11 of Salt and Sanctuary. So today's episode is going to be just a little bit different than the others. I ran into some issues while I was collecting footage for episode 11, and what I was forced to do was salvage whatever I could from that one clip I got, and try to piece everything together to summarize what I was able to accomplish. And I started with these hard light blocks. So I went back through the game, and I looked for as many spots as I could with the blue smoke for hard light. The first one I found here is in the Dome of the Forgotten, and it has the Assassin set, which was a pretty good find. The next one I found was down here in the Red Hall of Cages, near where you fight the Tree of Man, and this one doesn't lead you to any secret items or anything like that, but it's still convenient and still really cool because this just gives you an easier way into Kran's Pass, like these spinning wheels with the platforms on them. You can avoid those altogether if you use these hard light blocks, and you don't have to risk falling to your death if you want to get to Kran's Pass. The most pointless one that I found is directly above the sanctuary, right there, in Hager's Cavern, and this is where the Dragon Bro is sitting. I dropped down to him like an idiot, but unfortunately there's something stopping us, this big glowing red wall. And then the final and most important one is all the way at the bottom left of Hager's Cavern. We ran into this before in a previous episode, and this one goes on for a while. So the others just served as shortcuts to other areas and give you a couple items here and there. This one leads you to several different areas. And these guys through here, these like anglerfish looking dudes, they're squishy as hell. They're pretty weak. You definitely shouldn't be afraid of them. I think the only thing down here that's kind of a pain in the ass is this trap right here. But if you're paying attention, you'll see the tripwire. So after you smash through most of these guys, you're hit with a fork in the path. You can either keep going straight, or you can go up this ladder. I went up the ladder first. So as you go through these ladders, you should definitely keep your torch out in this place because you're going to run into more hard light blocks. And if your torch goes out, the screen goes completely black. There's no light down here. And then this is the only item that you can grab up here is at the very top, past this hard light block. And it's a familiar weapon, the Stardust Spire. We've been able to transmute this weapon for a long time now. We have the materials for it. But it's a magic spear, and I haven't invested any points in magic. I might later down the road, but it's good to know that at some point in your playthrough you can find this weapon for free, instead of having to transmute it. And that should be every single item on the way up here. And once you go out, it's a totally different place. When you keep going straight, it takes you to a place called Fort Beyond the Mire. And it kind of looks like the Shivering Shore. And if you keep going down these planks, you run face first into another Bronze Knight that's on a horse, which these guys are kind of badass, they're a little bit tough. I went backwards and decided to go straight instead of going up the ladder, and you run face first into an even bigger badass. This motherfucker with the axe and the mace is tough. Like, he will stun lock you. You'll see what he does to me right here. I did the smartest thing I could and got a blunt weapon with electricity on it. And he just said, fuck you, I'm gonna stun lock you to death. I probably should have died right here, but I guess out of sheer luck I didn't. After I realized what he was capable of, I decided to dodge his attacks and just pay attention and see if he has openings, see what his weaknesses are, and study him a little bit. And he's pretty tough. There aren't very many opportunities to hit this guy because he is constantly attacking you, and despite how huge he is, he moves pretty quick. I mean, he got me a few times. But much to his dismay, there's not much you can do against the Cephalopounder with electricity on it. It's just a tough weapon. And he is guarding a prayer called Divine Will. So this area right here is directly after the horse guy. So after defeating the Bronze Knight that's on the horse, which he's definitely my favorite variant of Bronze Knight, I can say that for a fact. I want his spear / halberd thing so bad, I can't stand it. But it'll take you to this guy here on a boat, and this guy on the boat offers to transport you somewhere. So I opted for no with this guy. I didn't want to go too far and get ahead of myself because there were some things I still wanted to explore in the other direction. And continuing in the same direction as the guy on the boat, this is just right back inside the building that's after the guy on the horse. If you go straight up, it will lead you to another sanctuary. So you guys know me. You've been watching long enough. Just take a wild guess. What do you think I'm going to do? It's good to be 3. So now we have a sanctuary all the way up here that we can transport to as long as we can find a stone guide. And this defender's ring is sitting right outside of the sanctuary. Luckily I was able to get the entire boss fight in the Mire of Stench. That Stench most foul. I'm really thankful that OBS didn't fuck up at all while I was doing this segment of the video, because this is a really cool boss fight. He spits forth clones or chunks of himself that look just like the faces on him, and they are poisonous. And that, I don't know what that attack is, but I completely luck rolled it. Don't have any idea how I didn't get hit. But the cool thing I noticed about this boss is, as the fight drags on, he spits out more and more and more of those things, and I cannot imagine how annoying the fight gets if you aren't able to kill them as he spits them out. Like, imagining 8 or 10 of those things floating around trying to kill you while he's trying to kill you, it would be pretty nightmarish. But he went down pretty quick. I think having the Taki at level 5 with lightning on it, he didn't stand a chance. And then after beating this guy, you get his tooth. So this right here is directly outside of the boss fight. You find an NPC that gives you a new brand. And the brand is called Redshift. So the thing about this, the Redshift, is I know I made a big deal out of Hardlight because all of those blocks all over the place that we couldn't do anything with, they made me curious. They made me want to figure out how to get to them and how to use them because I know they were guarding secrets. But that was just satisfying a curiosity of mine. Redshift is a little bit different. The reason I was so happy to get Redshift is because Redshift allows me to get past things that are stopping me from progressing, which is a bigger pain in the ass than not being able to jump on those blue misty blocks. This is why I was excited about Red Light. These things have been everywhere in the playthrough so far, and we can finally get through them. The other notable thing that I did was I found this, the Kraken Longsword. I don't know how I overlooked this, I don't know how I didn't see it before. All I know is that I have got to get my hands on a diamond cluster because that thing looks bad ass. That's a sword I want ASAP. And that pretty much sums up everything that I did in episode 11. I know this isn't a very long video, but I hate that OBS chopped up the quality of my recording. If it hadn't created issues for me, we probably could have had a full-length episode, but enjoy watching me get creamed by this guy on the horse while I use a weapon that I'm definitely not proficient with, as you can see. As much as I like this weapon, it's called Flint and Steel, scales with an S in dexterity, and it's basically a gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII. That's, I think, where the inspiration came from on it. But this guy walked all over me using this weapon. I don't think it was the best choice against him, but it is a fun weapon, without a doubt. I may use it a little more during this playthrough. I made it for shits and giggles, knowing fully well that I'm definitely more strength-oriented on this character at this point. but it's never too late for a little more dexterity. So to summarize this video, we covered everything in the mire of Stench. I got everything over there, including beating the boss. I found as many hard light blocks as I could, backtracked everywhere I was able to try to get those secrets. And we now have a Redshift, which is really nice. We can get past all of the red barriers. And I think the very first one I'm going to go to is the one at Hager's Cavern, where Dragon Bro is sitting. That's probably where we'll pick up in the next episode. But, again, I apologize for this video being so short, and not really being the style of play that I've had so far, but I looked into it, did a little bit of research. I know exactly why the issue I had occurred, and it was because I was using hardware through a PS4. I'm using the HDMI splitter that I'm using for Demon's Souls on PlayStation 3, which I require in order to use my capture device on the PlayStation 3. I'm just swapping back and forth with one single HDMI cord between PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, and if you try to use OBS with a PlayStation 4 and the Elgato HD60S with an HDMI splitter, it does not like that. It ruined the quality of what I captured. So, I hope you guys will still enjoy this bundle of clips that I was able to salvage, and it'll keep you up to date on my playthrough. It'll let you know where I've been, what I've experienced, and in the next video, we're going to start using Redshift to get through these damn red walls that have stopped us from going wherever we need to go. So, thank you guys so much for joining me on this unfortunately short episode of Salt and Sanctuary. I will see you guys in part 12 coming up, and look out for more Return to Boletaria 2. We're having a blast there. So, I've been your faithful host, Let's Play Dark Souls HD, and I will see you guys in the next episode.